That's great. Yeah, that works. I think. Can you like say something?
Hello.
Yes.
Well, it's their first time coming back into society, so we're an open ward.
Okay.
They can go to the city whenever they like,
Right.
after therapy hours, of course,
Right.
regulated. But that's often a barrier to overcome.
Okay.
To step again into the society. They have to check their impulses again. They can be offered some drugs, or they come in touch with alcohol again in society.
Right.
That's often a big step to overcome,
Yeah.
to stay sober.
Okay.
But also they have like their network of friends, family.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are very far away, so it's difficult to visit.
Yeah.
But sometimes they are very close, and that's not always better than to be far away, because sometimes they are not very positive contacts.
Yeah.
So they can be triggered in different ways. It's difficult to speak, of course, for my colleagues, because we all have different challenges. It's like sometimes balancing between letting go and letting them retake some autonomy, and
Yeah.
letting them be self-sufficient again.
Yeah.
And the balance of that part with wanting to help, or wanting to support, or
Yeah.
wanting to put boundaries,
Right.
because we're the last step. So after
Yeah.
us, they have to do it. They have to
Right.
be able to do it. They have to develop the capacities to
Right.
self-regulate.
Yeah.
So for me, that's somewhat the biggest challenge, I think,
Yeah.
to find a balance between helping and supporting, but also autonomy and
Yeah. I can
yeah.
understand that.
For me, it's very helpful in the first place to stand still for a minute
Mm.
when we see some behavior or some problems or some things that we stumble upon.
Yeah.
And that can be behavior from the patient, but also from ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think it's very nice that it's kind of hybrid or something. You can use it for
Yeah.
patients, but you can also use it for colleagues and for your team.
Yeah.
It helps to stand still. You have cards to hold in your hands and
Mhm.
pictures which say more than 1,000 words.
Yeah.
So that helps too. And I think what's maybe helped me the most is to seek different sides of people,
Okay.
and to not make a judgment of a person in whole, but make a judgment of that side of the person. Or
I
not a
see.
judgment, but an evaluation. And
Yeah.
not just judging that person, yeah, I think he's very annoying. No, you can stop with, oh, I think he's very annoying. Why would that be?
Yeah.
Where does that come from? What kind of annoying
Okay.
am I experiencing? So for me, it helps to broaden my perspective on some patients. And going maybe like an iceberg, going under the surface.
Yeah.
So you see some kind of behaviors, and when you just stay there, yeah, you're not gonna
Yeah.
make any difference, but you
Yeah.
have to dig deeper, and that helps for me, yeah. And it
Yeah.
also helps to keep the empathy going
Yeah.
sometimes, because
Yeah.
when you're in daily contact, sometimes it can be very exhausting or
Yeah.
triggering for yourself also,
Yeah.
and at some point your patients might get a little smaller.
Yeah.
So it helps to keep the empathy going and to understand where behavior is coming from.
Yeah.
So you can also check your own mode where you're in
Yeah.
and why it's triggered. I think what helps the most is the coaching sessions
Okay.
which are organized,
Yeah.
because it's like a fixed time,
Yeah.
and we say, okay, that day we're going to focus on one patient, but it's not
Right.
defined in advance which patient.
Yeah.
And we just go with the flow, and we say like, okay, who's thinking about a patient, who's thinking about a case they want to discuss, or what's on the tip of your tongue, what's annoying you today or the past few days, what are you stumbling upon?
Right.
So it gives like a forum to discuss, and also to to ventilate your own feelings about a patient. So it definitely helps for stress reduction. And also after the session, you can go back and say, yeah, but there we saw that it's this and that triggering their behavior. So you can go back on it. It's not just in that moment that it stays.
Yeah.
We use it in our daily interactions between colleagues, definitely. Also to speak about colleagues, I mean, giving feedback inter-individually between colleagues.
Okay.
Also, and towards patients, sometimes we use it, but I think it's more in one-on-one context. When we've had a tough discussion or a patient has been a little bit rude at the desk and some other colleagues have come in between, we talk about it after to ventilate, like, that was very hard for me, thank you for coming to protect me or to support me more. We saw that this patient was completely going over the line. He was actually in that mode, but what made you react this way? And then it's become natural to start talking in modes about each other. But I find it helps,
Nice.
because it gives a common language also. You say you're in that mode, everybody knows what that mode means. Because if you just use normal words, everybody can have another meaning for certain words. Well, they do it sometimes during group sessions also. And it's very nice to see that sometimes when a patient, they are not always in contact with their own modes or with their own feelings or perceptions. But sometimes you see other patients jumping in, pitching in and saying, yeah, but I see that you're doing that. I would give you this card. So it's very nice to see patients do it for each other, actually.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, it's
very nice.
very interesting to see that happening, Maybe how easy it is to use.
Okay.
It's not like it's completely new information, but it's just a point of view to see a case or to see colleagues or to see behavior. So it makes it really accessible. I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe, because when we do coaching sessions, it goes pretty smoothly, I would say. Sometimes it's more, the cards get laid out pretty easy or pretty fast.
Yeah.
But then it's more like thinking, okay, why do you place that card? I would have placed that card. So, and then we can go into discussion. So I think when you're already to that step to go into discussion over the cards, I think you're in the next phase or something.
Makes a lot of sense.